In the grand, electrifying world of professional wrestling, few rivalries have ever captured hearts like the one between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. It was more than just a clash of two legends, it was a battle of legacy, pride, pain, and destiny. But behind the thunderous applause and flashing lights, there lay a terrifying truth. One of their encounters almost cost Shawn Michaels his entire career. The showstopper at his peak. By the mid-1990s, Shawn Michaels was at the pinnacle of professional wrestling. The world knew him as the Heartbreak Kid, charismatic, flamboyant, and gifted beyond words. Every move he made in the ring seemed effortless, every match a masterpiece. Fans adored him, critics called him the most talented in-ring performer of his generation. But with fame came the cost, exhaustion, pressure, and the dangerous edge of physical and emotional burnout. Then came The Undertaker, a force unlike any other, mysterious, indestructible, and revered as the Phenom. When Michaels crossed paths with him, the collision was inevitable and unforgettable. The night of broken bodies and immortal spirits. It was Bad Blood, in Your House, October 5, 1997. The first ever Hell in a Cell match, a structure designed not just to contain chaos, but to create it. The steel walls loomed high above, the crowd roared with anticipation, and the tension was thick enough to choke on. From the opening bell, it wasn't a wrestling match, it was war. Chairs clashed, bodies flew, every blow echoed through the arena like thunder. Michaels, ever the daredevil, pushed himself beyond the limits of human endurance. The Undertaker, cold and relentless, punished him with precision. Blood poured, bones screamed, and fans watched in awe as two legends tore each other apart inside the steel. But then came that moment, a spot so brutal, it became wrestling folklore. The Undertaker hurled Michaels from the side of the cage, sending him crashing through the announce table below. The crowd gasped. Michaels didn't move. For several long seconds, time seemed to stop. Was this it? Had the greatest performer of his generation just sacrificed his body and career for one match? The hidden pain behind the curtain. What most fans didn't know then was how real the damage was. That fall, and the punishment that followed, left Shawn Michaels with a severe back injury. In the weeks that followed, he tried to ignore the pain, continuing to perform like the consummate professional he was. But backstage, every bump, every landing, sent shockwaves of agony down his spine. Doctors warned him, one wrong move could paralyze him. Still, Shawn refused to quit. For him, wrestling wasn't just a job, it was his life's pulse. Yet fate wasn't done testing him. Wrestlemania 14, the curtain call. Fast forward to March 29, 1998, Wrestlemania 14. The world watched as Shawn Michaels prepared to defend his WWF Championship against Stone Cold Steve Austin. But what the audience didn't see was the man behind the curtain, broken, barely standing, his back screaming in agony. As he laced up his boots that night, Michaels knew it might be his last time ever stepping into the ring. The Undertaker, a figure of quiet respect, reportedly stood backstage, ready to ensure Michaels gave the business everything he had, and that he left the ring with dignity. Despite the unbearable pain, Shawn performed. Every move was a struggle, every slam a dagger of fire up his spine. But when the final bell rang, and Austin stood tall as champion, Shawn's body gave out. He collapsed backstage. The doctor's words echoed in his ears, "You may never wrestle again." The 4-year darkness. What followed was silence. For 4 long years, Shawn Michaels disappeared from the wrestling world. Fans were left heartbroken, wondering if the showstopper would ever dance again. Behind closed doors, he battled more than physical pain. Addiction, depression, and despair crept into his life. The man who once electrified millions now found himself lost in his own darkness. The Undertaker, meanwhile, continued to reign, his legend growing larger, his mystique untouchable. But even he knew, the story between him and Shawn wasn't over. The miracle return. In 2002, something miraculous happened. After years of surgeries, rehab, and self-reflection, Shawn Michaels made his return to WWE. The crowd erupted. The prodigal son had come home. But questions lingered. Could he still perform at the level that once defined him? Could his body endure? Could he truly find redemption? He did more than that. He redefined himself. And standing once again across from The Undertaker in the ring, he found both a rival and a mirror. The man who had once nearly ended his career now became the man who helped complete his story. The WrestleMania epics. Fast forward to WrestleMania 25 and 26. two of the greatest matches in wrestling history. The Undertaker vs. Shawn Michaels, the clash of perfection and immortality. At WrestleMania 25, they delivered a performance that transcended wrestling. It was art, emotion, and storytelling at its finest. The world stood in awe as two legends pushed each other beyond limits once more, but this time, not to destroy, to create beauty and pain. The following year, at WrestleMania 26, came the sequel, Career vs. Streak. If Shawn lost, he would retire. And when The Undertaker pinned him, ending the Heartbreak Kid's career, there were no boos, no jeers, only standing ovations and tears. This time, the ending was poetic. The man whose career had almost ended because of The Undertaker years before, chose to let it end with him, in respect, not rivalry. The legacy beyond pain. Looking back, that brutal Hell in a Cell match wasn't just a turning point in Shawn's career, it was the birth of two legends' eternal bond. The Undertaker became the embodiment of resilience and mystique. Shawn Michaels became the symbol of redemption and heart. Their story wasn't about hatred. It was about destiny. Two warriors walking different paths that led them, again and again, to the same battleground, where respect triumphed over rivalry. Today, when fans remember the night The Undertaker nearly ended Shawn Michaels' career, they don't just recall the blood, the brutality, or the fall. They remember the courage, the comeback, and the unbreakable spirit of a man who refused to stay down. In a world where storylines blur with reality, few moments remain etched forever in time. The Undertaker vs. Shawn Michaels wasn't just a match, it was a saga of pain, pride, and passion. It taught the wrestling world that even in defeat, there can be victory, that even in endings, there can be rebirth. And for Shawn Michaels, the man once broken by The Undertaker, his legacy now stands taller than any steel cage. A testament that the greatest battles are not fought in the ring, but within the soul.